All right, another antenna for 2.45 gigahertz, and this is a good one. I know a lot of people said, hey, if you ever find a good one, let me know. And this is a good one, so I can highly recommend this one. So let's take a look at it. It has some things going for it, which I really like. It has a folded dipole driven element, and that makes it very broadband. It has then the problem with its high impedance. Usually these are about 300 ohms, but it has a matching circuit. So it has an LC matching circuit built into the bottom with voodoo magic here, voodoo RF magic. It's got a little stub and some capacitance to ground, and yeah, there's some funny business going down there that I don't understand. And I also like it that it's got elements on the front and the back, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so let's get out our VNA. Let's do a quick calibration on it. We're going to be going between 2100 and 2600. So let's do calibration reset. Oops. Calibrate. We will do an open. We will do a short. These little wheels work really good for your cal standards. Keep you from dropping them on the floor. It makes it real easy to spin them on and off. Load. Done. Save. All right. You know you have a good calibration if you have a very, very low return loss. We have at least minus 45 dB of return loss, so we have a very, very good match, which means we have a very good calibration. And so let's put our antenna on. I'll put a very short cable on it, so people will say, hey, that's your cable's radiating. Nope, not this one. This is just antenna. So we will attach this guy, take a look at it. And let's see here. All right. Can you see that? Is that zoomed in all the way? That's about it, right? So that's markers at 2452. There's 2450. So it's 2450. So very, very nice match. Minus 15 dB return loss. And very, very broad band. You can see the dipole working there. People want to see this in SWR. We can do that. Oops. Shoot. Pushing it too fast. Display, scale, we're going to go to 0.2. And format, oops. Damn it. Format SWR. And get rid of that thing there. So you can see that it is oops, you can't see it because of all the reflection stuff. These things are so hard to photograph. So there you go. 1.41. Oh, I didn't take the 0.2. Okay, we'll go back. Scale, 0.2. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay, so good SWR, 1.4. Nice broad band. Yeah, this antenna is a winner. Now, I don't know about its gain, I don't know about its directivity, but for S11, man, it's doing a great job. Let's talk about the design of this antenna. So I was going to go off and design my own antenna, and I noticed that these calculating programs like EasyNet and things like that, they need to take into account the diameter of the wire that your elements are made out of, because there's surface area and current and a bunch of other things for the calculations that you need to do this. But we have a PC board, so we have this PC board, and our conductor is just a flat sheet, right? And so how do you enter this into these calculators? And will the calculators actually calculate correctly for a flat thing instead of a round thing? So both of those have me very, 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 very confused. So then I thought, well, we have a PC board, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and use our PC board, right? Why don't we go ahead and put a trace on the bottom, right? So now it's kind of like effectively having that size of a conductor, right? You can say, yeah, but these are so close together compared to the wavelengths and everything. I would think that this would work perfectly fine. And then you might say, well, maybe you should via stitch it in the middle. Maybe you should via stitch it on the outside. So you have a bunch of vias running along the outsides of it and stuff. But having top and bottom makes a whole lot of sense, and I don't understand why most of these antennas, like we looked at before, why don't they use both sides of the antenna? It seems like none of these use both sides of the antenna. Well, guess what? This one uses both sides of the antenna, and guess what? It has via stitching along the outside edges. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that stitching vias actually do anything, or they might actually hurt. I'm not quite sure about that yet. These are pretty close together, so they probably don't hurt, but I don't think they're needed. I had my friend do an analysis on. He has access to a Keysight ADS EM, CAD program and stuff, and so he did much stuff, and he says, yeah, it doesn't really matter at those wavelengths and stuff, and the difference, I had him run a single layer, and I had him run a dual layer, and the dual layer works fine. It gives you a wider, it gives you a broader band. So this broadens the band. So yeah, I think putting them on both sides just makes a whole lot of sense. And now we need to talk about this folded dipole, because it's kind of unusual. Usually a folded dipole will look something like this, and people will say this is 300 ohms, and you might need a 4-to-1 balun to drive it. So you'll see a lot of these on big Yagis, right? 10-meter Yagis, or even 440, 144 Yagis and stuff. You'll see this in there. The driven elements will be straight, but the driven element will be an oval, folded dipole. Sometimes even the reflectors are big sheets, there'll be a big plane, a big reflective plane, not just one bar. But anyway, let's talk about this thing. So yeah, drive this with 300 ohms, okay? Well, we don't exactly have that here. If you take a look at this backside, this is ground. It goes up and over and rounded down, and it goes back to ground. So you say, this thing's shorted out, it won't work at all. Well, these are quarter wave, or half wave, quarter wave? Yeah, these are quarter wave, right? Half wave antenna. And these are quarter wave stubs. So this is a quarter wave stub. And then we drive the dipole at two points. So this one comes in and reaches in and goes right there to a via, and that via is right here. So we're driving this side with the center conductor, and this side just gets grounded. And the doubleness of it doesn't go all the way. So only part of it is a double layer. I don't know, it's odd. So don't ask me how this works, because I don't understand it. Maybe there's some fancy RF guy out there who knows how this works. But yeah, there's some magic happening down here, there's some magic happening here, there's some magic happening how it's fed. Yeah, this is a little kink here, this is that little kink there. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here that I don't understand. So anyway, but this one works good. So if you want to use this one, I recommend it. And it's got a big arrow telling you that's where the electrons go. Or people say, no, it's not where the electrons go. No, you're right. It's where the EM field goes, right? The field goes out there. The wigglies go this way.